You're listening to the sounds of
Cannabis Community Project, yay!
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome back, family, friends, fellow cannapreneurs. Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project, here for another weekly podcast from the CCP studios high up in Denver, Colorado. Here exploring the business side of this newly emerging Colorado economy, focusing on the business, the patient, the retailer, to the geek in the garage, creating that next innovation. This is the first media platform to help fellow cannapreneurs just like you build sustainable businesses while living the lifestyle. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and this week we're highlighting Dairy Berry's Recording Studio. Find him at dairyberriesrecordingstudio.com or call Mark at 303-456-8216. Hey, cannapreneurs, how is it going? How was your Halloween? Did you stock up on candy? Did you recover from your hangover? You know, Halloween seemed to have changed this year. I didn't notice as many kids in the streets. I don't notice as many people talking about it. It seems to be maybe a holiday that's going away. I don't know. But we're past it. We're recovered. We're ready to move forward into the end of the year so we can get this year out of the way and get into the real year, 2016. This is going to be a big year because so many things are going to happen next year, all the way from the presidential election all the way down. This industry is really going to explode this year. So we got to hurry up and get done. December needs to get done. And we're going to wrap it up for you with just a few more shows to the end of the year. You know, I'm thinking about starting more shows. As you all know, I have the Deity Dozen in production that we're working on, trying to figure out format and put it together and bring you something that's unique and original, based around, and I hate using the word spirituality, but it's going to be more based on religion, talking about the First Church of Cannabis, talking about the guiding principles of the Deity Dozen, and trying to work that into a podcast that I think will be interesting. But I'm also thinking about, what else can I bring you in 2016? What else is out there for the Cannabis Community Project to engage in? So I have a couple ideas. I want to run them by you, and I'd like you to give me some feedback. Send me an email, post it on social media, do whatever you want to do. Send me smoke signals. Just let me know what you think of these ideas. I'm definitely going to move into more of a visual medium also. We're going to really focus on our YouTube channel, Vimeo. In other words, through our RSS feed, we're going to start uploading more videos instead of pure audio podcasts. And we're going to try to create some shows for you, like scripted shows that are thought out, not just people turning on cameras and getting high or doing whatever these ridiculous shows that I see people doing, but some shows that have some writers that are actually putting some thought into developing what type of content or entertainment, information can we bring you, the cannabis community, through the internet. I would like your feedback. I want to know, what would you like to learn about? What do you want to go after? What is the content that you would watch? Because all entertainment and information, TV, radio, everything is going to be online 100%. So we're just going to start there. We're not even looking at, can we get on terrestrial radio? Why? So we can lose an audience? Can we get on cable? Why? So we can become hyper local and lose the audience that we have and start over from the ground up? That doesn't make sense. We're distributing through the internet, and that's where we're going to stay. That's where we're going to build our audience, and that's where you're all listening. So we're going to bring you video with that and blogging. The whole idea of a production company, right? An entertainment company based on this industry, this cannabis industry. It's going to be everything that you see in everyday life with your shows, your music, your TV, your radio, live events. It's just going to be focused on this industry, and it's going to be done through the Cannabis Community Project with what I'm I'm going to attempt to bring you a unique and fresh approach to this industry. Honestly, I spend hours and hours watching other people's shows, listening to other people's shows, seeing what's out there, and I don't want to sound like I'm being an asshole, but there's just a lot of shitty shows out there, and they're taking up people's bandwidth in megabytes. So if you're talented and you got some ideas for a show, join up with me. Let's produce some media. I'm going to secure a media studio. We're going to set up professional cameras. We're going to have green screens. We're going to have boom mics, the whole deal, little switching boards, push button little things. We're going to have a production studio, and we're going to start producing media. We're going to do more podcasts like the Deity Dozen and more around music. So today's show is with Klassick and Kate Thomas, a couple of great artists. We're going to premiere a new song, a new track they got that they're bringing out. It's not the first time. Coincidentally, this was unplanned. Just last week, we had Young Fate and T May on, right? You heard their story. Again, they've been on before, and you heard their new tracks and everything else. It really makes me want to just start a whole new show about music, cannabis community music. What do you think? I mean, you've heard a few interviews I've done with the Musicpreneur interviews with Hannah Samano and Young Fate and Team May and now Klassick and a couple others here and there that I've had on the show. And every week, all the music you hear is original music that I personally have reached out to the artist. There's no buying up music rights, copyrights here. I don't have any copyright license. All the music I play, I have to personally reach out to artists, which means most of the stuff you hear is going to be maybe unknown, right? Maybe they're not mainstream famous yet. Maybe they're up and coming. So in a way, you get to hear those who are going to be before they are right here on the show, just like today. And I think I have enough time in my week to do a third show around music. So what do you think? Cannabis Community Project will still focus on business. We'll talk to those business owners. We'll get up the Deity Dozen. We'll look at the religious, spiritual side of the world in cannabis. And then, some type of new title, Cannabis Community Music. We'll do something with artists. Maybe in the TV genre. Maybe we'll release music just through this community as a distribution channel. We'll figure it out. All we know is that if you stick with us as an audience, we become more powerful. We make this happen. That's how this becomes not just the greatest state in the nation, but the greatest industry to ever exist in cannabis. And we're at the forefront of it. So join me on my journey right here at the Cannabis Community Project. It's an open community. It's your community. These microphones, these cameras, this RSS feed is yours to use. All you got to do is contact me, and we'll figure out a way to get some creative, unique, informative, and entertaining content through the fiber cable. But before we do that, let's make sure, like always, we don't forget what we learned last week. So let's go back to our short-term memory flashback with Young Fate and Team May giving us their insights, coincidentally in perfect harmony with today's show, just more about music and entertainers. So let's use today's show as kind of the pilot show. Let's say this is the pilot show for what potentially could be a branch-off podcast into the cannabis community music, a whole dedicated show just talking to artists. Give me your feedback. Let me know. Based on your response, will determine how much energy I have to produce a third show and focus on artists. If you're an artist and you're looking for a channel, here's an audience, the Cannabis Community Project. It's international. I got listeners in Russia, China, the Philippines, Mexico, Argentina. I can show you the analytics. People are listening, but definitely right here in the U.S. where the biggest audience is. And this could be your community. All you gotta do is get involved. Here we go. Grind and burn.
This is your boy Young Fate, head of Weird Music, and I'm chilling with
T-May of Weird Music, female recording artist.
We're literally trying to look outside the box. We're looking for bands, drummers, guitarists, vocalists.
So are you like a talent agency in the sense where you're looking for bands to sign? You want to be...
I'm trying to recreate the 60s, be a flower child. It's like a family we're trying to grow. It's like a movement.
Original.
If you're getting, advances for albums and you're getting distribution, that pie becomes not just a piece of the pie. We're talking about pies. Just for an example, other radio shows use what's going on in the mainstream world or whatever, and then they charge artists for radio play, and they do literally everything so dirty to these artists, but then they
Who are you
hide
talking
behind
about? Name some names.
Geek Street Society. I know I'm not a mainstream artist, but I know people in the mainstream in LA, where I'm from, and I will never go mainstream, and I will never sign their contracts.
Well, that's just shitty business practices, from an ethical standpoint. It just shows what kind of character you have.
Even in LA, they told me that Colorado, they see Colorado as rowdy. Like, we are rowdy artists, and we are all desperate. Not all of us, but at the same time, the majority of the artists that are succeeding and that are doing bigger things, a lot of them are giving us a bad name, dissing each other, going into clubs, fighting with each other, like taking shots at each other on Facebook. Like, it just does not need to be that. We want to be the example. We don't just want to talk about it no more. We don't just want to complain about it. We want to be that. Like, I got to the point where my name meant something, and it was like I was able to go to certain places and stuff, like Riverside and then Los Angeles. But I got to go back to pretty much like my hometown and headline a gig out there, and then
a big gig.
It was like a alright gig. It wasn't like a super filled out concert.
More than 1,000?
No, it was a couple hundred probably, but it was like a local show. But I mean, still to fly back and do a show out there.
Anything over 50 is good.
At this time, I mean, literally, I don't feel like nothing's to the point where it's out of control. Like, everything that I have is handled. Like, all our artists are doing good. Our booking is good. Our touring is good.
Do you have a studio you're working out of? Like, how?
We work with the Decibel Gardens.
Recording studio, sound studio?
It's a building. It's a recording studio building,
And what you bring in artists, you record, and then you do what? You try to sell that music downloads, or what do you do with them? Try to book them gigs?
We have digital distribution.
And then try to book them gigs, or just sell the album?
Yeah, booking gigs is actually the most easiest thing for me. But it's about how you're booking your gigs, because this year I've been in like they weren't talking about us and saying good things. So like, we want our followers to like follow the right radio show. So all my followers, all Teammates followers, Weird Music followers, make sure you guys tune in to CCP Cannabis Community Radio, because this looks like it's going to be our home radio for Weird Music.
Yep.
Surprisingly, you guys have way better weed than One Blunt Radio too. Not to talk shit. But I'm like way higher off. Like,
weed is some of the best weed I've smoked in a while.
I go to One Blunt and I'll take a couple dabs and I'm good. I'm faded. But like, I literally hit that green crack one time and I didn't even know like what my name was.
This weed comes free with every guest correspondent.
Hear that artist, so reach out.
If you have an idea, a business, perhaps just some thoughts about cannabis, contact me. I want to hear from you. I want to discuss these issues: health, food, music, growing, technology, business, everything else. CCP.
Well, here's a fun fact. I love this. There are a number of proposals that affect marijuana. But here's what people have to keep in mind is that right now the federal government looks at marijuana and hemp as exactly the same thing. The definition of marijuana includes industrial hemp because the federal government, under its laws, doesn't make any distinction in the plants depending on the THC level. That's the difference we make in Colorado and a lot of other states do. The federal government does not. So, yes, another excellent source of information is me. My name is David Bush. My law firm is David Law, DAVIDLAW, davidlawcolorado.com.
Very good. Well, as always, I appreciate your time, and we'll have to check in again. We'll do another little update.
My pleasure.
We'll speak to you again.
Yeah.
Smells so green. And now, me too.
Have you smoked yet today?
I have not.
Did you want to? I brought some top of the line. I think it's called Kick-Ass.
For the name alone, I'll say yes.
Did you smell that? Dude, that's 100% organically grown, sun-bathed, Colorado grown bud right there. That's from Top Grower.
Baby, come and smoke with me. Fly, fly, fly with me. Run up in the sky with me. Baby, we're so high. Baby, come and smoke with me. Fly, fly, fly with me. Run up in the sky with me. Baby, we're so high.
Yeah. How's it going? Do you wanna blaze one up with me, mama? Avoid the drama that's got me sweating like saunas. Oh, those jeans are designer. Well, I don't really mess with fashion too much, but I keep on rolling these blunts, so let's just smoke it up. I'm going out on a limb, especially asking you this. Could you please pass me a fifth or roll me a split for the purplest shit that you can find? You're one of a kind, and that is why you're always on my mind.
Baby, come and smoke with me. Fly, fly, fly with me. Run up in the sky with me. Baby, we're so high. Baby, come and smoke with me. Fly, fly, fly with me. Run up in the sky with me. Baby, we're so high. Smoke with me.
There you go.
Get high with me. You're in the sky with me.
Whoa, do you smell that skunk?
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of smelling weed.
I'm going to take 2 hits here and then we'll be good to go.
You're in the sky with me. Baby, let's get high.
And we'll just have a conversation.
Cool.
All right, whenever you're ready.
What's up, guys? This is... All right.
See, this is why we're not live, right?
Yeah, it'd be bad. What's up, guys? This is Klassick, and you're listening to Cannabis Community Project, Colorado-based artist. I do conscious hip-hop with a mix of trap in there.
Hey guys, I'm Kate Thomas. I'm a vocalist based here in Denver. Just trying to work with a bunch of different people in the industry, get on different tracks, learn from anybody that I can, spread positivity and good energies to anybody that can listen.
Good, that's a good tagline. Good energies, right?
That was nice.
Tell me one more time, are you guys a duo team or are you independent and artists?
We're mostly just independent artists. We've collaborated on a couple tracks, and they've actually gotten a lot of good buzz, so just decided to continue on with that.
Yeah.
And see what's to come from it.
Klassick is your name?
Klassick, Klassick.
Do you have any alternative spellings that you need to throw out there also?
Nope.
Okay. You never know, right? When people are Googling, they need to make sure they're typing the right keywords.
Yes.
So what's your genre here? Hip hop?
Yeah.
And
indie acoustic.
So you play the guitar?
Yep.
You didn't bring a guitar.
No.
She didn't really know that she was going to be on the interview.
Oh, you were just grabbed at the last minute?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we here promoting today? You have an album coming out?
We have a new single coming out called Smoke With Me.
Smoke With Me?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me guess what this is about. Tell me about it. When did it come about? When is it coming out? What's the theme?
The theme is, it's definitely involved with the cannabis community. We don't have a set release date. We've just decided that we're going to go on a couple radio shows and introduce it slowly into the public. I mean, the idea came about, we were recording with a friend of ours over at Side 3 Studios downtown. I love recording there as everything comes out nice. Really, we're in there, we had a nice beat, and the song just turned into itself.
It just developed in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a track that you're doing together?
Yes.
Is this the first track you're doing together? No. You don't have a release date. Is that because it's still being recorded or hasn't been recorded, or you're not wanting to do like a hard release? You're wanting to do like a soft release. It's a strategic thing.
I think that's kind of where we're at with it.
Which one?
The strategic release, yeah. And I think we've chosen that just because we want to get some blog recognition from it.
Have it build traction organically.
Absolutely, yeah.
I always love talking to artists because they're on the front lines of really how do you survive in a world that really doesn't have an infrastructure anymore, right? There used to be an infrastructure for this industry where you could go and be on some type of platform and be promoted and have something tangible that you sell and a whole industry involved, and that doesn't really exist anymore. So I'm always curious to hear what the soldiers on the front line are doing to stay alive. Are you making a living from this? Is this track part of your career of how you're making a living, or is this just a track that came about so you're releasing it because that's just what you do when you got a new track?
I think it came about pretty organically, coming together as friends, going into the studio, hopefully make something big out of it. But from my end, it was definitely an organic song that came about. I have another job, so this is not my main income.
Main gig.
Yeah.
You're working full time and then doing this kind of on weekends and
as often as I can around work.
Yeah, that's hard. Is this your full time gig?
No, I wish. It's I would say it's about 50% time.
Okay.
But it's just as of right now, if you're an independent artist, locally known or, based out of one region and you don't have that much backing yet, it's hard to become profitable, especially if you're not touring and doing shows.
Well, I want to learn about that, about actually where you came from and how you got to this point. So real quick, let's just throw it out there. And if somebody wanted to find it, to listen to it, where would they go?
It's called Smoke With Me.
Okay.
It is not released yet, so it'll be played exclusively on here or on other radio stations.
How about this? At the end of this chat, we'll play the whole thing.
Yeah.
What if somebody likes it, and they want it for themselves, what would they do?
That's a great question. They got to be patient and wait for it to come out.
Wait for it to drop.
We're just giving them a little taster right now.
Okay.
Giving them a little taste.
Okay. So what if somebody said, hey, I got some money in my pocket right now. Is there a way I could acquire it right now for a few bucks?
It just depends. We might just release it, you know.
Okay. No, I like the strategy of resist the money and then kind of see where it takes you.
It's got to be very strategic timing, too.
Yeah.
It's really hard to just drop singles randomly.
Right.
It's definitely an art to dropping things on social media and putting it out there.
Now, where is that fine line? Because what happens if it becomes so listened to already where the saturation is, I've heard it, why would I need to buy it now?
Right. We've done a pretty good job so far of just giving a little bit of a taste to get people interested in it.
So that explains why you came to this show. So just a few people would get a listen to it. You don't want to take it to the mass audience. You don't want to go on radio or crazy XM or anything like that.
Yeah, not yet.
Take it to a podcast where just a handful of people will get it.
Absolutely. And I mean, our strategy in doing that is, there's going to be people out there who, once this song does blow up, because we do have a lot of faith in this song, once it does blow up, that, they'll be able to say, hey, I heard that on a podcast back when, and so that exclusivity really, I feel like, is going to draw a connection for us and those who enjoy it.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it personally.
Right. Well, if people were smart, what they would do is they would just download my show, and then since the track's going to be played at the end of the show, then they would just have a hard drive file right there, right?
Yeah.
So then they would just download my show, and there you go. You got the track. There you go. There's a little inside secret to everybody who's looking to get the track for free. No, I'm just kidding. We'll cut that out, maybe. So let's learn how you got here. What are we looking at? How many years have you been involved in this? What's the overall investment you have in this career, if we can call it that at this point?
Absolutely. I've been singing my whole life, playing guitar for 8 years now. I started kind of just as a solo artist, singing, playing guitar at local places like the D-Note in Arvada and talent shows and stuff like that.
What was the inspiration? Were you watching some other female artist and you said, hey, I think I can do that?
I don't really think that it was specifically a female artist. I think it was more of, I've observed so many emotions in life and so many different experiences and wanted a medium to be able to portray that to other people and connect with other people on another level.
Wow. That's heavy. That's that was a little more intense than I expected from an answer on that.
She'll hit you with those.
Are you a struggling artist? Do you feel like you're the quintessential struggling artist who's pent up?
I don't know. I don't think that I would say struggling artist. I definitely take any opportunity I can to work with music and work as a vocalist. And
not struggling like trying to make a career. Struggling like, are you the emotionally the person who's looking for an art form to release something that's going on inside that you don't have another medium to let it out? I mean, your answer just sounded very...
No, I don't. It's not like angst or anything like that. It's more of just a more fluid interpretation of emotion and experiences than a conversation or anything like that.
You're just drawn to
music is the universal language. Everyone in the entire world connects on a deeper level through music. Your brain reacts, the neurons in your brain react to music. It's science behind the human connection.
Follow that. What's your answer going to be now? What do you got to say after that?
Man. Yeah, she'll hit you with those ones, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah, and then that's why we work so well together, I feel like. But for me, I think music to me is something that I'm able to almost record moments on that are able to be replayed.
How old were you when it started?
I started writing when I was 14. I'm 20 now.
What was going on? Why did you start writing?
Troubled youth? Yep, yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely that had some influence for sure. I had moved high schools, and I grew up with all the kids I was supposed to go to high school with. And freshman year, I moved to one of the most affluent counties.
Freshman year,
yeah. So I walked in knowing nobody in the whole high school.
At the bottom of the chain.
Oh man, it was bad. So I just, the only thing for me to zone out was writing. So I would just sit in class. And
what kind of writing?
Poetry, spoken word poetry. And I would just, listen to a lot of like atmosphere.
How did that transition into a musical connection?
The cadence of the words and how they were.
So you grew up up on hip-hop rap, I mean, that was something that you already had in your head of the rhythm and timing and style where you knew how to just kind of let that connection take place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think from the spoken word, too, you don't have to put it necessarily to a specific beat. You can just do it a cappella. And so that being able to portray thoughts, emotions, memories, all on a piece of paper without a beat, I think that for me definitely pushed me.
You can change directions.
Yeah.
You're not tied to a progression of chords going forward. You can pivot and turn, right?
Yeah, and a lot of those writings I was able to throw on multiple beats in the future. So I was like, oh, okay, great. You know, it gave me full versatility.
So how many years ago was that?
That was about 6 years ago. I'm only 20 right now.
Okay.
So I'm still a young aspiring artist, if you will. But I've been in the Denver hip-hop scene for about 2 years now. I started doing shows when I was 18.
Where was your first appearance?
My first appearance was at the Roxy, right next to Cervantes downtown, off Welton Street. And I remember I only had about like 4 or 5 friends there. I was on a small local label. Like,
how did
really
you get
small.
on? It was like an open mic night?
No, so it was an actual show, and I got a call from one of the guys who was on my label. He was running it, and he's like, I'm not going to be able to make it to this show tonight. Would do you want to take my spot? I was like, for sure, I would definitely love to take that spot. And
It's an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Somebody that knew you had the ability to do it, but you were not aspiring to do it at that time. You were not looking to do it. You weren't on the list.
Oh no, I was. I just didn't have the connections to do shows. I wasn't.
You couldn't get
aware of it. I wasn't aware of how that process went. So I was able to go downtown. I played that show. I got invited back next week to play at a rap battle. To battle up in a rap battle. I was like, all right, sure. I made it to the final round and lost due to politics, but you guys can go look at the video and see who won yourself. So, but yeah, that was cool, man. It was a really cool experience being invited back right
regular
next
9 Mile story.
Yeah, I know, right? It was awesome.
Happening every day. Classic story.
Hey.
Right? So worn out.
It was awesome though, man. It was a good time.
So you're 20 now. You're in Denver. You're working through the channels. So how does it work today? Are you going up on stage every week now? Are you going up daily? Is it like being a stand-up comedian where you try to get a daily 10 minutes in on stage? What's from then to now?
Where we're at is at least monthly or bi-monthly. So we're playing shows, either in Denver or...
Is that because of a lack of venues? I mean, why monthly? To me, I would feel like I would need to do almost a nightly type thing to really hone my skills and be at the top of my game working forward, that you need that stage time, getting that 10,000 hours in. Why the monthly?
As an artist, you want to keep exclusivity. You don't want to play a show every week. There's artists that play shows every week in Denver, and people are so sick of them that they'll try and show up after their set. So for me, I like to keep it pretty exclusive, and that's worked for me so far. And when I do get a new audience, they listen to me, and then they're excited to see my name again on my flyer. So
it's an interesting thought. I want to come back to that because I have a lot of questions about that.
Definitely.
But I want to figure out where you came from, because I feel like your story might be a little different.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
I think it is. I started playing guitar to support my singing, to be able to start songwriting and stuff like that.
Why, at such a young age, did you feel like that was the path you needed to be on?
I saw so many different bands and artists being able to eloquently portray the human experience. And I've always been a really emotionally connected person and kind of envied their ability to do that. And I wanted to not necessarily mimic, but be able to try it for myself.
And you saw that in them, something that they were able to do that you wanted to do, so you followed that and tried to replicate that.
Their ability to use a physical voice, I guess, to portray the human experience was something that I really connected to, more so than guitar or songwriting or anything like that. But
when was your first stage presence?
I started, my first show was at the D-Note in Arvada.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the place. What was the setup? You went there to be on stage?
Yeah, I was on
so
on
you
the
put
bill.
your name on a list?
I've been blessed with some really great friends, really incredibly talented musicians.
Okay. It was like an open mic night type thing?
No, it was actually a show that I was on.
A paid show?
Yep, I worked with a punk band in high school for a long time. Yeah. And so they were really great to me and asked me to open for them and then sing with them on stage for their set. But but
Okay.
I got the opportunity to play my own stuff.
Your first time on stage, you were playing your own stuff with a punk band, or you played with them after you played your own stuff?
After, yeah. So
they
it was
let
just
you open
me.
it for them, basically.
Yeah. So it's just me and my guitar, completely acoustic.
And what's your style? Acoustic songwriter, but what does that mean? Are you just strumming through chords and singing lullabies, or?
You know, I think that I'm a pretty diverse artist. I pull from a lot of different genres, you know. So it's a lot of that for sure.
What kind of guitar are you playing?
Acoustic, electric.
What's the brand?
Fender.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it steel string?
Yes.
Is it a cutaway or is it a full body?
It's a full body.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's an electric?
Yes, acoustic electric, yep.
And what kind of style are you playing? Are you playing with a pick or are you playing
No,
finger style?
I never play with a pick. For me, guitar is a very, very intimate thing. I like being able to have the physical manifestation of what I'm playing. That's why I like acoustic guitar more than electric, because you actually get the reverberation.
Are you finger picking or like classical style or strumming? With
both, a little bit of both, yep.
And are you more of a note picker or a chord player?
Chords.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I really like being able to fill in the space vocally when you're going through and finger picking and stuff like that. It's really beautiful, but there's not as much room to go in with vocal melodies as there is with just chords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, what kind of music you play?
Yeah.
Where does that take you to today? How many years ago was that?
Oh man, that was in high school, so 5-6 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fast forward to today, what has it developed into? What are you doing? What's your stage time?
Right now, I'm really not show focused. For me, right now, it's more of, honing my craft, being able to go to different artists when they say they want me to sing on their stuff and being able to present
studio type work.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, let me ask a question to both of you because she said something. Is stage time automatically the same as doing a show? Is it the same thing, or can you have shows but then also have other venues where you're just getting your hours in being on stage for a shorter, lesser amount of time? Is there a distinction there?
Are you asking if like stage time as in there's nobody in the venue?
I'm saying if you did a Wednesday night for 25 minutes and there were 7 people in the crowd and it's stage time, it's not really a show. You may have not really gone out and tried to do any promotion. It's just time you have to just be on stage practicing what you do. Is it black and white where it's either a show or off stage?
No.
Or can there be different levels of stage time?
I definitely think there are different levels of stage time for sure.
To what extent? Would you stand on 16th Street Mall and flip your case open?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
I have,
okay.
yeah.
That's stage time, right?
Yeah,
Okay. That's still stage time.
I can see it
right?
that
Would you
way.
stand on 16th corner, 16th and
yeah, I definitely
Stout?
would. Yeah.
Yeah? Flip your hat on the ground and try to get dollars thrown at you?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely battled downtown just on the streets.
Right.
Just freestyled. But for me, I mean, it depends on what show it is because there are some shows where only 7 people show up.
Right.
And then there are some shows where the whole house is packed. It really just depends on how much hype the show has. So that's what I think about when you say stage time, is being actually on a stage.
I think about it in the sense of like whatever you are, whether you are a football player or a boxer, right? You have fights where people pay and they come and you do it. But then you have practice and training, right? And then you have days where you're just, throwing punches in the air. There's different levels, but they're all part of developing that stage time.
Absolutely.
What's the practice you're putting into your art, into your skill to develop that?
Me and my DJ, I mean, we rehearse up at his house.
Yeah.
We have a really wide space for us to rehearse. So he spins on vinyls, and so we're able to run through the set about 5 to 6 times on the day of the show.
Yeah.
And then before that, too, we'll run through it just a couple times a week just to kind of keep us updated and see what we want for an intro.
So what does rehearsal mean?
Go
up there with an intention of this is what we're going to work on?
Yeah,
or?
we come up with a set list. We figure out how we're going to transition those set lists. That's how we've done it, really. It's just come up with our tracks that we think would flow well together, see what beats per minute match up. I mean, it comes down almost to a science. All right, well, this emotion will be on this half of the show, and then this emotion will be on this half of the show, or vice versa. Like, how do we want to flip this up? How do we want to carry this crowd? What do we want? What energies do we want to push out to them?
So how do you know what kind of fan base you have? How do you keep track of that?
I mean, it really just kind of depends on, right now it's open. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of different types of people. I don't think we have one set fan base, which I'm okay with.
Is it just ticket sales, or is it ticket sales plus Facebook fans plus subscribers subscribers plus downloads, a whole algorithm of how do you determine if you even have an audience out there?
Yeah,
do you have an audience?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a whole collage.
Yeah.
If you put it that way, for sure.
Do you have an audience?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty blessed because I have my personal, indie acoustic sound, and I've been able to work on some hip hop stuff, some electronic stuff, and so my audience is potentially pretty diverse. So I'm really blessed with that.
The reason I ask is because you're both working other jobs.
Yeah.
So there's a point, I assume, you're going towards where you're wanting to make a full transition into being like, this is my job, right?
Yeah.
This is my gig. So if you just look at basic numbers, how much money do you make now based on the size of your audience? How much more do you need to grow to get to that point where you can say, now this is what I do full time, right?
Well, with the way streaming works nowadays, Spotify and all
these are the main channels you're using as distribution?
Not at the moment. Right now, we're just stocking up on exclusives for me.
These just happen to be some of the bigger, where people normally consume a lot of the media.
Yeah, so let's say, the rate for Spotify per stream is 0.002 cents. So, off of 30,000 plays, you're making $200. So really where the money comes in as an artist is going to be your merchandise.
Shirts, hats,
EPs, whatever, posters, anything you can think of, man. We have it all too. Everything, beer koozies to booty shorts to bikinis to swim trunks, man. Just because that's really the only route of revenue at this time for an independent artist.
Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have something tangible, something physical to sell. Nobody wants to pay for music. You can't put music in your wallet.
It's very different than it used to be. You could just go buy a CD or a vinyl or something like that and make some income off of it. But now it's really, really difficult to make money off of streams.
The CD or the vinyl was a way for you to translate how you felt about the music into something tangible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you said, hey, I own this album, what you're really telling everybody is I own everything that comes with this meaning of being associated with this band and this group and this music, right? And here's how I represent it by having this thing I can play. When it's all just on your phone and streaming through, MP3 players, it's like, where's the tangible? So then you got to go back and sell them a T-shirt or a hat. Does that work?
Yeah.
Do people pay?
Yeah, definitely. Last show, a couple shows ago that I had, we had a merch table, and we made some special edition CDs, which I like to do, just because it makes it more personable.
What does that mean?
I'll sign each one.
Oh, okay.
And only make 10 or 12 of them.
Okay.
They're $10 a piece, $5 a piece, whatever it is. But that last show, I had random people come up to me I've never seen in my life, which is always a good feeling, coming by a T-shirt and a CD.
An average show, what are you looking at?
Depending on the crowd turnout, which is
say
all a dependent
500
factor.
people come to a venue.
If everybody's feeling your stuff, you can probably sell anywhere from 10 to 20 shirts.
And what's the overhead? It's you and who? Who has to be paid at the end of the night?
Me, and that's,
you don't have sound people you work with, crew that haul your stuff around, agents, managers that get a percentage.
The manager, me and my manager have a contract for a percentage, but at this point, with how little we do make from shows, from the venue and merchandise sales, it's almost, not even worth it for them to take anything. So they're like, well, just
why am I even your manager?
Yeah,
What about you? How do you make money? Does it work the same way? Are you having to sell stuff?
I think as a vocalist, it's kind of different. If I were going about it as playing shows by myself, it would be the same thing. Me and my guitar, just selling merch, that kind of thing. But as a vocalist being featured on other people's tracks, my main goal is to give everyone the ability to find the music, to go to the shows, to support these other people that I'm on their tracks, because I'm being featured.
They pay you and they get paid by people coming to their show. Buying their ticket. So you're looking just for somebody to pay you. Say, hey, be on my album. Here's my hourly rate.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If somebody's willing to pay you for your time, by all means, that's preferable than standing out in front of a table, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
What would you prefer to do? Get paid to perform or stand in front of a table and sell hats and shirts?
You got to do all three.
Right.
All three.
Right. You have to do all three.
In order to even
But the preferred would be somebody just pays you to do what you do.
Reverse,
Right?
Definitely.
The sales and the marketing and all that, you're kind of saying out of necessity.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
So does that mean if you want to make this your main gig, you have to become a store in a sense? You got to become a mini store, and now you're managing a store of products, and you're out there wearing your blazer and selling stuff in a kiosk in a mall and telling people, come on, folks, come over here and
once you're an
take
artist,
a look at this lotion. It's classic. Classick lotion.
Got the sparkle ones for the girls too. Well, once you're an artist, and this is the hardest part about the industry, is you have to separate yourself as an entity and a human being. That image you put out there to people is now your business. You are a business. For me, that was tough at the beginning because I was like, well, I just want to spit rhymes and rock show. That's it. Yeah. But if you want to make this a career, you have to really like separate yourself as an entity and a human being. I mean, if I could get a kiosk at the mall, great. People just like my stuff and don't even know about my music, fine. It's still a sale. And that's where the entity comes in. But then as a human being, as an artist, as somebody who feels the way I feel about, you know, emotionally conflicting music, where the music comes in, and to those who are inspired by it or it has helped, that's where they listen to the music. And those are the diehard fans, and those are the ones who do want the merchandise, because like you were saying earlier, it's something tangible that they can really feel, and it's what they represent. And it almost gives them like, it's like a vice for some people, you know? So there's that. And like I was saying, man, you have to really separate yourself as an entity. It's the darker side of the industry, man. I mean, it's something that if you're aware of, then
you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, it is what the old saying is, right? So where does this go into the future then? How do you actually develop this into a career? What's the next step?
I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out where my niche is.
Right.
You know, trying to figure out what genre I like working with the best and that kind of thing.
Is that because you feel like once you find that unique voice, then you can develop an audience base around it? Or that's when you'll just feel comfortable with what you're doing?
I think a little bit of both. I think that as a vocalist, you're kind of lucky because people get connected to your specific voice.
Right.
So I think across genres, people are going to follow that voice. I'm very fortunate in that. But I think that I have so much to learn from so many people that are working in the different genres that I'm not ready to say, yes, this is my exact path forward right now. This is how I'm going to make a career. I'm just not to that point of understanding it.
Could you do country? Because it seems like everybody that does the country crossover becomes very famous and rich.
Yeah, so, I don't know about that. We'll see how that goes.
No. So how are you going to make this your living?
You grind.
What's the plan?
You grind hard every day. Every single second of the day, you grind hard. Whether that being thinking about the music and manifesting that. This is a great step for us. It's another radio interview that we're out there. Someone somewhere is going to hear this, regardless. You know, even if it's just you, you're another person interacting with us.
But I'm equivalent to like 5 people.
Yeah,
you're right.
I got some clout that comes with me. I have at least 5 people.
There you go. So, I mean, it's a grind every single day. Just what are you doing to progress yourself? Just like an athlete. If you're playing football, are you running every day? Are you working out every day? You know, for me, I try and write 4 bars every day at least.
Physically write? Like you have notebooks piling up in the room?
Or throw it on the iPhone. Just get my thoughts out onto something that's tangible.
Do you physically write also?
Yeah, I do both.
Notebooks or computer?
iPhone and notebooks, both of them.
Yeah, piling up in the room?
It's super convenient to be able to just pull out your phone and write down fleeting thought.
How do you take those ideas and turn them into something that's actually worthy of somebody else listening to? How long does that take? Days, months, years?
Sometimes it's super fast and sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it's a grind.
Yeah, sometimes it's a couple hours. Sometimes it's an hour. I mean, I have songs I've been working on for 2 years.
The best ones you've ever done, they've come fast or they've taken a long time to develop?
I don't know.
You're saying
mid-range.
Mid-range?
For me. Yeah, okay. Mid-range for me, for sure.
I think it's really fun to be able to go in and get a really organic song, and I think people connect to that really fast.
Like on the spot, like a shortly produced idea comes, something comes out.
Right, just go in and
get it out there.
Make something really great. Yeah. But I also think that people connect to something that they know time has gone into, that it's a really developed, elaborate thought.
Right. So like if you were a painter, would you buy art from somebody that put 500 hours into this painting or somebody that slapped it out yesterday afternoon?
I've seen,
Right. I think it's quality, you know?
Right.
I've seen both ways, man. I've seen somebody throw up some sweet street art real quick and then, you want to grab it up right there because you saw them make it.
Well, sometimes time is the enemy, right? Because if you have too much time to work on something, there's always room for improvement, right? And sometimes all you're doing is replacing a 7 with a 7 and things don't ever improve. They just keep changing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to find that balance in yourself. And once you do find that balance, man, that's when you're on a roll. Because when you find that niche, like when you find that energy, it just keeps pushing you. I've had that before where we only have 10 hours in the studio and I'll make a whole mixtape. Or I'm working on 4 tracks and it takes me a month, 2 months to just get these 4 tracks done. Wow. As opposed to a 6-track EP in 10 hours.
Do you own all your own equipment or are you relying on other people to get stuff produced?
I have equipment at home that I like to use for reference tracks. Yeah. So that way when I do go into a studio, all right, we already got the idea. We know what we want to edit in post-production and what we want to do for overdubs, ad-libs, and all of this extra stuff. And for her, it's like harmonies and melodies too. So, and that's something that Kate is really good at. Is she for
harmonies
Smoke
and
with
melodies?
Me? Absolutely. For Smoke with Me, we had 2 hours in the studio.
But playing a guitar and singing, I think, would naturally lead to melodies and harmonies.
Absolutely.
Versus hip hop. I mean, it's just your mind's kind of on two different tracks.
Absolutely.
So one naturally relates to developing melodies and harmonies through the nature of the instruments you're using and everything else.
Right. Yeah.
And Smoke With Me was actually a really fun experience because we knocked that out so fast.
The recording or the initial conception?
All of it. Writing,
everything.
Recording, everything. How many hours were we in?
We were in there for 2 hours. I had called Kate. I was meeting up with our other friend, Cameron Cannon, who's on the track. And he called me. He's like, hey, do you want to record a track? And had sent me another beat for about 2 weeks to think on. And I was like, I don't really like this beat. So the day of when we got into the studio, we all had heard this beat. All three of us, all three refreshed. Besides Cameron, and Cameron had it for a while. But I called Kate and was like, hey, we need you at the studio. Do you want to come down? She's like, absolutely. She hopped on immediately. We had written something out together. I had already an idea. I just can't sing at all. So I was like, what do you think about this? And then she, threw in some nice touches to it. And then went in, did her main lead vocals, and then her harmonies and melodies and all that extra stuff. I'm not a vocalist, but watched her do all that stuff. And we placed it, and it was just a really good track for that. And then I hopped in. It took me about 15 minutes to do mine, and then Cameron hopped in, took him about 30 minutes to do his, and then we just mixed with the engineer all together and just threw in our ideas.
It just came together.
Yeah, it was a 2-hour track, and it's one of the best tracks we've ever done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it comes out. I mean, I think that organic conception of things is probably most of the time better stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I've had studio sessions for one song that was 10 hours long, singing that entire 10 hours, and the song doesn't come out nearly as impactful as something like this that was super organic, that just came together.
Well, it would be like if I said, all right, we're going to hit stop and then we're going to hit record again. Let's start from the beginning of this interview.
Yeah.
Right? The second time around would probably just be
a lot
different. It becomes a little bit of a struggle.
Right? There is something to be said there. So parting words you're saying is just stick to the grind. Just
stay on your grind, make connections. I think the one worst thing in the Denver hip-hop scene that I deal with, and I'm sure a lot of other local artists deal with, is there's just a lot of negativity towards each other, and it's really cliquey. It's almost like high school girls. Like sometimes I can't deal with it, and I'm not afraid to say that. I don't give a I don't care. But, for me, it's really frustrating because, you have this one person over here doing this awesome art and it sounds really great and people will show love. And then you have another person doing, an equivalent, different but an equivalent style, and people just hate on them just because. And I'm just like, if you look in the Houston scene for rap, everybody's featured on everybody's tracks and everyone's known. It's so great. It's like a stepping ladder. But everywhere else, man, there's just a lot of people pulling each other down. I really speak out against that. I try my best to show love to everybody, and if I don't like you, I'm not going to sit here and diss on your craft. So for me, I think that, that's one thing. If anybody in the Denver scene is trying to get into this, just be aware of that. But stick with the grind, find out, focus on you and your writing and what means to you, and work on the cadence of your flow. Anybody can rap into a mic, man. Anybody can say anything into a microphone, but if there's no cadence, if there's no good flow, people don't want to hear that. Man, you're just polluting SoundCloud with more stuff. So just get off, real talk. So that's where I stand with it, man.
The Klassick says, focus on yourself. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. And, yeah, seriously, man. And work on your flow.
What about you? Parting words to young up and coming boys and girls who want to be guitarists, singers. Can you rap?
No.
Yes, you can.
I asked that because he said he can't sing. So I'm curious. It's like once you develop the muscles in your voice and your body, can you break those rhythms? Can you carry on a melody?
We'll find out someday.
Can you carry on a melody?
When I'm in the shower, that's about the only time. Right? That's the only time I feel comfortable singing. It's just me in there.
That might be an interesting show. That might be my next TV show to do, is having rappers try to sing and singers try to rap. And
that would be great, man.
And see how that comes out. What words of wisdom can you part with the up and comings?
I think just working really hard. It's a really, really competitive industry, and it's really hard to be discouraged. And I think that having conviction in your passion to it is huge. I think that a lot of people want to jump into the industry because they see all these stars and they really just want to immediately be a star. And that's not how it is. It's hard. It's a grind. It's every single day working hard for something that you love. And I think that being dedicated to that is hugely important, but also being dedicated to the fact that you have your own individual voice, that you have something to contribute to not only the music industry, but the world, something different, your own perspective, your own human experience. And being able to stay authentic to that and push that into your music is hugely important, and to not undermine your own personal experience and like popular words that really don't have any meaning to it, because that's not going to have as big of an impact as authenticity.
So take your time, let it develop.
Yeah.
Let it come out.
Stay true to who you are. Don't lose yourself in the industry, because it's really, really easy to lose who you are and not be real.
Yeah. Nice. I think those are perfect words to go out on. Yeah. Let's make sure to give out your contact information, the name of the album, where to find it or not find it. Maybe they can't, right? Maybe this is the only place they can hear it here. So let's get that out real quick.
Yeah, my name is Klassick, Klassick, Colorado-based artist. You guys can find my stuff on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vine. I'm on literally everything. You guys can find me anywhere. Just shoot me a message if you are a young, aspiring artist or somebody that does have questions. I'm always there. I respond to every single person who hits my inbox, no matter what, every time. Again, just follow me anywhere you can. Twitter and Instagram is at 303Klassick, Klassick. Like I said, man, anybody who wants constructive criticism, I listen to everything that's thrown in my inbox. And sometimes I love it, sometimes I really don't like it. But I'll tell you either way. And I've seen a lot of people develop from that. Yeah, just follow me wherever, man. Nice.
I'm Kate Thomas, and you can follow me on Facebook. It's Kate Thomas Music, or on SoundCloud. Again, Kate Thomas Music. Anything that you guys are looking for support on vocally, anything that young vocalists are looking for pointers on or anything like that, feel free to direct them towards me.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your time today. I think I've learned a lot. I think every time I talk to artists, like I said, I learn more and more, and it translates to so many other ways of entrepreneurism, right?
Yeah.
As whether you're starting a hat company or whether you're a rapper selling hats. You need to hear insights to what other people are doing. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now roll another one up, girl, we be getting lifted. And pour another one up, now we be getting twisted.
Baby, let's get high. Come smoke with me. Get high with me.
Thanks for listening to this week's show. Make sure to come back next week. We're going to have more guests lined up, speaking with dispensary owners, growers, business owners. Make sure to follow us on all of the social media, Facebook, Google+. You can listen to our shows live from the website or your preferred listening platform. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, even YouTube, all under the same name, CannabisCommunityProject.com. We'll see you next week.